Instead of feeling my very life force being forcefully taken away from me, it feels more like an act of giving something I have in abundance to someone else who needs it more. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir David, and today I want to play a game that's part of the Spooktober visual novel jam called Blood and Tea. Okay, I've got all the things ready. Rubbing alcohol, cotton balls, tissues, plaster. Oh, how could I forget? Tea. Yeah, you gotta have tea. That's an important component. It's that time of the season where I will host a humble afternoon tea in my humble apartment. Yes, an afternoon tea at 8 p.m. 8 bloody p.m. An afternoon tea. You sound like this annoys you, friend. Where is he again? He's late. I wonder if he's okay. Yeah, that would be my first thought. They're not responding. I'm never going to see them again. I don't know if it's intuition, or that we've done this so many times already that I just know, but I walk to the front door, holding the handle for a few seconds, and then opening it. There he is, my awaited guest. It doesn't seem like we were coincidentally trying to open the door at the same time. Hello. How are you? I look at him, judgingly, as I cross my arms. You're late. You're late, pal. Sorry. Have you been standing in front of my door for 5 minutes? It was 10, actually. Aw. 11. So, why are you still standing there? Are you waiting for me to let you in? Yes? Hey. Wait a minute. I thought you said that you don't need to get the host's permission to enter buildings. I'm going to spill my theories now. Are you a vampire? I don't. It's just common courtesy, you know? Even though normally you don't spend 12 minutes waiting for me to get you. He doesn't answer. Is it because we're doing that today? He continues to be silent. I will give you permission. I let out a sigh. Please come in. It's okay. Thank you. He walks past me as I reach my arm to close the door. I quickly follow until we arrive at the living room. As he enters the living room, he turns his gaze to the table between the two sofas that face each other, noticing the items I have put there earlier. Gosh, all these. I told you that you really don't have to prepare. I've brought all the necessary items myself. It's me who's asking the favor. But it's all the treatment for myself. Well, yes, but I'm the host. I invited you to have a drink. And hosts should serve their guests well. Oh, would you look at that? There's also tea. Wow. Like it's any surprise to you that I've also prepared tea. That smell. So, pumpkin-y, spicy. I don't know the proper vocab in English. It's pumpkin spice tea. Oh, very in season, I see. They said it's good for your heart and blood circulation. Really? Oh, I see you've also prepared some very cute candies. Are these for the trick-or-treating kids? Now I'm surprised if they will even come to your door. Sugar for a quick energy replacement. Also, that one is dark chocolate, which has iron. Let's drink the tea before it gets cold, shall we? You hate cold tea, don't you? Let's go straight to the other drink. No, for the improved blood circulation. Well, sure, yeah. He slowly takes his seat on the sofa in front of me. He observes the tea for a few seconds, before taking it in a rather shivering manner and sipping it very lightly. I'm guessing that he's avoiding eye contact, as I am also enjoying my tea, We both sit in silence. Yeah, why are you so nervous, fam? What's up with that? Nervous? I'm not nervous. It's nothing, you know. Actually, it's the usual thing, you know. Oh, there's nothing to be nervous about. Stop overthinking. Just drink more of the tea. I'm sure it'll make you more relaxed. It works for me. Yeah, you're right. Relaxed. Pumpkin spice tea, is it? I didn't know you liked pumpkins. I'm generally okay with it. My landlord held a pumpkin carving event for the children this morning, and they gave me the excess pumpkin bits in order to reduce food waste. Nice. Don't waste food. Did you cook something with it? Pumpkin stew. Pumpkin stew. Ooh, sounds tasty. Is that what you had for dinner? Does it have... Yes, I added beef to it. No worries. I know the drill. Did you also drink a lot of water? I did. And had enough sleep? Yes. That's great. So, are we practically starting now? I mean, since the conversation sort of led to it, and I don't want to take any more of your time. So, are you ready? Are you? Well, why ask someone when you're not prepared yourself? I am. I am ready. Good. So, first, the health check. He pulls out a notebook and a pen out of his pocket, then switches to one of the pages. Beef for dinner, check. How about your lunch? I had... Oh, am I supposed to know this? Well, salmon's pretty healthy. I had some grilled salmon. I thought you said that you know that... Well, it's okay, I suppose. Since you had red meat for dinner... He scribbles something on his notebook. Now that I have asked you about food, the next one is about drinks. I know you barely touch any alcoholic beverages. Water. Have you been drinking lots of... He abruptly stops his sentence as he glances at me pouring the second refill of my tea. Check. Next, sleep. How many hours did you sleep last night? Perhaps around... I'd say 7 hours. Good amount of sleep. Nice. The ideal. I always try to have that much. Don't want to look more tired than I already am. Oh, has something been tiring you? You've been making it? A little less tiring. Aw. I wasn't sure what that was going to lead to, but it's kind of nice. That answer sounds a bit unfair. Never let them know your next move. Is that a new meme? Aww. Is that a new meme catchphrase that I'm just too old to understand? He said meme wrong. Aww. Anyway, I'm glad that I could help ease whatever things you're going through. Sleep, check. He looks through the pages of his notebook again. General health condition? I know you don't have any congenital disease or long-term severe sickness. I've checked your hospital sheet, too. Goodness. Oh, you're currently not suffering from some sort of mild illness, right? A cough? Dry throat? Do I look like I do? Well, you don't, I think. And I still can't figure out if there's anything, so yeah, okay. He checks on his notebook. Okay, and that's it for the health screening. Next is... What's that smile mean, friend? He takes a deep breath and then exhales it. I can hear him mumbling to himself, as if trying to convince himself something. Okay, let's go to the next part. I know you already know this, but let me remind you again. Doing it directly is the most convenient, safest, quickest, and least painful way to do it. As much as I myself don't like it. I like it. I don't even know what it is. Well, good for you, I guess. Now, if you have understood that, Do I have to sign, like, a terms and conditions? Do I have to sign a contract or something? Next. I have to warn you again that this will not be painless. Especially during the initial step of the thing we're doing? Yes, exactly. That seemed like the option that would make him more comfortable. But I will try my best to make it the least painful. Although I was facilitated with these. Aww. He points to his upper teeth. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with any sort of numbing anesthetic or healing attributes. Even so, I've been learning healing spells, which means I can apply a spell to help the newly inflicted scar heal. Yeah, he's definitely a vampire. But a vampire that means well, a very polite and thorough vampire. I respect that. Not to make the whole process painless. Therefore, I'm very sorry that we have no choice but to use the good old... What? Retinol? Alcohol? Paracetamol? Alright, I gotta look that up. What in the goodness is paracetamol? Well, you might want to assume that after we did it, to help relieve the pain. But I will heal you afterwards anyway. Moreover, that won't numb the initial infection. Would retinol do that, then? I don't really know what retinol is. What we have to use is alcohol. Really? Just like how they do it in your usual medical practice, right? I will just apply alcohol to the area of the skin, and to my, the thing that I will use to inject. Oh yeah, they do. Well, that's for sanitation, right? They rub the alcohol for sanitation, not for numbing the pain. But then again, I am not a nurse, which leads to... my last question before we actually do it. Now, as the one asking the big favor, I want to give you the liberty to pick. Where do you want me to take it from? Oh, you mean where you want me? Well, how about the wrist? That way it's not too awkward for the both of us. Oh, thank you for picking that area, because it's the normal area doctors usually draw. I'm just glad that we'll be taking it from there, since it's not so inhuman. Anyways, now that we've got all the technical things settled, I know you've heard this so many times already, but please, let me tell you a few last things before we actually do it. I nod. He takes a deep breath, then glances on his notebook. Please understand that you're able to refrain from doing this at any moment. If you suddenly decide that you want to stop, I will stop immediately. This is the most polite vampire I've ever encountered in all my fictional years. I have told you that during the process it will not be painless, so if I hear a very little cry from you as a natural reaction from the pain, I have no choice but to ignore it. Is that okay? I nod. However, please let me know if it gets too painful for you. You can raise your voice and scream stop, hit my shoulder, stomp your feet to the floor, or do anything else to get me to notice you. We need a safe word. With all this preparation he has, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a safe word. But then again, that might make him feel uncomfortable. And feel free to squeeze me as tightly as you want, to help you bear the pain. I won't complain, so don't hold yourself back. Do you understand? I nod. Lastly, I know you already know the side effects of this, but let me explain again. Well, most clearly, anemia. A light one. If things go well, I will take only around a pint. You will naturally recover that volume within a few days. However, a complete recovery of the cells will take a few months. That is why we agreed to do this only once in 3 to 4 months. You may also experience headache, shortness of breath, tiredness, and some other mild symptoms, but I have prepared you medicine to ensure you recover quickly. Of course, I will use my healing magic as well, but I'm not so confident in it. It will only work on the externals, the scar on your skin. With all these in mind, do you still wish to proceed? I nod. Let's do this! Let's get it done! It will help me if you say it out loud.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, finally, please sign here. All of the contents are what I've said to you, and you can reread it yourself if you want. I really am signing a contract. That is a thorough vampire. I appreciate that. He hands me his notebook and a pen, pointing at a certain spot on a table chart. A chart that I made. I look at my previous signatures and the previous dates. The last time was in May? That was almost half a year ago. As I realized how painful it must be for him to hold his thirst for that long, I quickly signed the notebook. Aw, thank you. He puts the notebook and the pen back into his pocket. He takes a very deep breath again and lets it out. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready as well? Yes. He stands up from his seat to move to the seat on my right. First, he takes a bunch of tissues and arranges it tidily to cover his own lap and the sofa where we're sitting. Oh yeah, because he might spill it. Actually, we should probably put a tarp down then. Should have put newspapers down. Then, he takes one cotton ball, wets it with alcohol, then applies it carefully to his teeth. Aw. After that, he washes both of his hands with a gel hand sanitizer, then applies alcohol on another cotton ball and holds it in his right hand. Sorry, your hand, please. I offer him my left hand. As he's taking it, my body automatically leans towards him. He looks at me for a second, as if he's saying thanks for my cooperation, or waiting for the reassurance that I'm okay with all that he's doing to me. His gaze turns to my left arm that is now above his lap. Using the cotton with the alcohol, he lightly taps and makes a circular motion on my wrist. He sighs. Well, all is done. Now's to actually do it. He stares at my wrists for almost a minute, until I break the silence in impatience. You want to get this over with, don't you? I do. Same here. Just a few seconds later, he steadily lifts my left arm from his lap, then quickly pierces my wrist with his fangs. I let out an almost voiceless grunt that only I could probably hear it. I wonder if he went overboard with the alcohol, or if it's the positioning, or if he managed to do a certain technique that makes it not so painful. Or maybe I'm just used to it. Used to seeing that red liquid running through my arm, coming from the 2 dots that he has freshly made for me. And used to being annoyed at how much is wasted, hoping that he could be a bit tidier about it. Well, at least those excess little drops fall to the tissues below, so it's not a mess. And a majority of the blood still falls to his throat anyway. Which, I could feel it being transferred to his body, very slowly. He's really taking his time. That doesn't always mean that he's taking a lot. I trust him that he will only take the safe amount from me, but he's just doing it so slowly, little by little. It's not like I need to rush, but I don't know. It just feels weird, waiting to let him finish. We both just sit there in silence. Obviously, he's unable to say anything. I don't want to do anything that might break his focus either. I have nothing else to do but stare at him, and then my arm, and then his eyes that are covered by his bangs, and then the clock, and then the blood, and then tea. The tea? I hesitate for a bit to break the moment, but my impatience wins. Hey, just want to remind you that you still have another drink that you have to finish. After a few seconds, he slowly releases his mouth from my wrist, then quickly puts a tissue over it to stop the bleeding. He escapes my gaze as he wipes his mouth with a tissue, before he turns to me with a smile on his face. You're right, the tea. Before that, let me apply a healing spell on you for a little bit. He He closes his eyes to help him focus, taking a deep breath, then releases it. With his palm on top of my wrist, he seems to be silently chanting a spell on his head. Not that I know how it works, anyway. Before I knew it, I could feel that the bleeding had stopped, and the throbbing pain is gone. There. He hands me my hand. After, he stands up and returns to his original sitting position in front of me. Unfortunately, the scar will stay. It might feel a bit itchy. It's best if you don't touch it with unsanitized hands. This is a special cream to help it disappear. Please apply it daily. And these are special iron pills that will help.
Yes, I understand. The tea is getting cold, you know.
Yes, you're right. Don't drink iron supplements with tea, though. Aww. We spent the rest of the night finishing the tea I've made. We talked a lot, but it was mostly him info-dumping me on the things I have to do after what we've just done, and asking me every 5 minutes whether I'm feeling okay. Aww. To summarize, he told me to rest well, drink lots of water, and eat iron-rich food. But somehow, he managed to explain that as if he was reading a medical student's final thesis. At that point, I was literally too drained to be annoyed by his literal lecture, so I just drank my tea and chewed on some candies. Honestly, I wish he's comfortable with me enough that he would skip all these technicalities. I'm getting sleepy. Must be one of the side effects. Him calling my name takes me out of my world of inner monologue.
Yes?
Do you understand all the things I've just said?
I've understood all, even before you said anything to me.
Great. Well, if that's the case, I'll be going, okay? It's getting late.
That's a peculiar thing for a being of your nature to say.
Don't you mean it's getting early? I still need to get a good night's sleep, you know? Especially after this very draining process. Even though I was the one draining you.
Aww. He's starting to make bland jokes with a half-hearted laugh again. You better come again for drinks in 3 months, not later, and make sure to come on time.
I will.
Aww.
He stands up, walks to my front door after signaling me to just stay on my seat. Regardless, it's not like I was about to send him off either. My energy is too depleted to stand and walk through the lengthy journey to my front door. I just look at him walking until he arrives there and opens the door. Lastly, I want to give you my biggest thanks. For the blood and tea.
That's why they call it that.
Hey, that's the name of the game. He said it.
Normal end. Blood and tea.
Aww.
Okay, so I'm trying to get the bad ending, and thank you so much to the developer who put such a wonderful walkthrough with the game files, because there's no way I would have figured this out. But trying to get the first bad end. Let's go straight to the other drink. What drink? You know.
Gosh, can you just stop pretending? I'm sick of it.
We both know what you're here for.
You agreed to it. Even if I had to force you a bit, you agreed.
What are you even so scared of? Me? My blood? Drinking it? Yourself?
I've told you 1,000 times already that it's fine.
I'm more scared of seeing you so painfully enduring your thirst, so just take it.
Aww.
I just remembered that I am actually needed at the palace at this hour, at 8:30. Yeah. Are you aw. I'm terribly sorry, but I must take my leave. I'm needed somewhere else. Thanks for the invite, though. Great tea.
Aww.
He quickly turns away, then dashes his way to the front door. I just stand in silence, not trying to do anything.
He opens the door, then glances at me briefly.
Sir?
I'm sorry. Aww. The door closes. The sound of the shut is quite abnormal for me to hear, as it came from his seemingly pale and weak body. Aww. What great tea. He hasn't even tasted it. Aww. Now how am I going to finish all of this tea by myself? I sip the one that's already in my hand. Gah. Maybe I shouldn't have been so rude to him. It's cold. Oh, man. Cute vampire leaves, and my tea is cold. Bad end 1. Cold tea. Let's see if I can get bad end 2. Hee. Let's go straight to the other drink. What drink? You know. Gah, forget it. I impatiently sit on the sofa, take my cup of tea, and sip it. I cry in pain as the heat burns my tongue. Well, at least it's not cold. Be careful. He slowly takes a seat on the sofa in front of me. He observes the tea for a few seconds, before taking it in a rather shivering manner and sipping it very lightly. Just get on with it. Yes, get on with it. Okay. Sorry to keep you waiting. So, first, the health check. I had a Caesar salad, which is what I was not supposed to have. Wow, very healthy, but, was there any chicken in it? Yes, scattered throughout the greens. Not so much of it then, I suppose. Well, I guess that's not so bad. Your dinner has red meat, anyway. I got 5 hours of sleep, which actually is more akin to the truth, actually. I thought you told me that you had enough sleep. 5 hours is enough for me. But that's not the ideal. I'm very much awake and refreshed. Probably because of all that caffeine you've been consuming. What? Nothing. I just think you need more sleep. But it's better than nothing, I guess. Sleep, check. Good old retinol. I mean, I think retinol is good for your skin, and you will have a scar there, so, honestly, I don't know if it's even related. I'm not a skincare expert. Sorry. What we have to use is alcohol. Okay. Uh-oh. I tried to tell him about the tea, but he keeps drinking. It's extremely unusual for him to not notice me. Maybe he's too focused and couldn't hear me. Maybe he's lost in his thoughts. Hey! I try to shake my arm that he's holding in order to make him notice, but somehow I just couldn't exert so much energy into it. Maybe because my energy is being taken away from it instead. And I could really feel it leaving me. From my arms, then my whole limb, my head, and eventually my whole body. Uh-oh. Maybe he's taking so long because he's taking so much after all. Or maybe... Before my mind automatically makes more deductions of this situation, it decides to fade away instead. And as my vision and hearing gets blurrier, I could faintly see his panicked face, and... hear him calling my name. But my mind already went somewhere else. Uh-oh, I didn't get enough sleep. I wake up, and I'm feeling oddly fine. My breath is short for a few seconds, but it quickly calms down. I scratch my head, thinking that I should feel some sort of dizziness or lightheadedness, but I feel fine. Better, even. Maybe he healed me. Ah, right. Him. I quickly remember what just happened, then notice a note that is left on the table in front of me. It says, "I'm terribly sorry. I was lost in my thoughts, and I didn't realize that I was taking too much." Oh, okay. I was right about him being lost in thoughts. I immediately gave you a full-body healing spell, so you should be fine. I was right about him healing me, too. You lost your consciousness at 8:45. I hope you wake up very soon. I look at the clock. I was unconscious for around 1 minute. How the heck did he manage to heal me, write all of this note, and leave within that time? These are the things you need to do. The note continues with a very long post-blood donation to-do list that you could easily find on the internet. And in the end, it continues. Forgive me that I immediately have to leave. Doing a big magic spell rapidly depletes my magic power, which you know where that came from. From consuming blood. Does this mean that all we just did was for nothing? Aww. And I don't want to hurt you again. Ever. So this shall never happen again. Aww. I'm sorry. Oh man. I lost my hunky boyfriend, my hunky vampire friend. I wonder what he means by this. Is it the overdraining thing, or the donation in general? I sip my tea as my mind digests everything he has said on the note. At least he doesn't put on the note, don't go outside in the morning for a while. And before I knew it, I ran out of tea. Aww, 0 tea. That end too. Out of tea. Well, at least you got rid of it. At least it's not just sitting there. Exquisite, marvelous, stupendous, extraordinary. He's complimenting my tea. Where did all that vocabulary come from? No, really. Now I notice that the sweetness is just right to my personal liking. You always get the measurements spot on. Aww. I can't say that I'm not at least a little bit flattered. I think I would prefer a latte, though. Oh, I should have known. I mean, we've been doing this for such a long time. A homemade pumpkin latte. No worries. No, I knew you liked less sugar and milk. Milk? Well, if you're that eager to get it right, you can just make it next time. I will. Mark my words. Thanks. Then I'll be looking forward to it. I had some delicious Tuscan chicken. I wish. Tuscan? Is that a type of chicken? It's a type of chicken dish. Oh, chicken is good. It's cooked with cream, cheese, although I deliberately cut the amount of those, and then onions, tomatoes, and lots of spinach. Ooh, that sounds amazing. And something I could potentially be able to cook. That's extremely good. It is. And the taste, too. I'll cook it for you next time. Are you the kind of vampire that can eat food? I like those kind of vampires. Really? Thanks. I'd love to try it. You're currently not suffering from some sort of mild illness, right? A cough? Dry throat? Honestly, I do have a very light flu. Oh, is it because of the season? Most likely. Well, hopefully the healthy preparations that you're doing for this will also help you recover your flu. I hope so too. The good old alcohol. That's right. Just like how they do it in your usual medical practice, right? I've been doing it on the wrist this time, but for the good ending, let's do it on the neck. Are you not okay with it? Well... If I may ask, why did you choose that area? Because I want to be more intimate with my cute vampire friend. I guess because it's the most comfortable for me. But it's relatively the riskier option compared to doing it on the wrist. Yes, but I'm not sure, actually. There, I just feel more warm, at ease, relaxed, and just genuinely better. Maybe due to the position, it releases those happy hormones, or whatever you call it. Who knows? I see. But I'm aware that the last time we did it there, it didn't seem to me that it was a very good experience for you. Let's not leave the decision up to me. Please consider yourself too. This is a two-person agreement. Are you comfortable taking it from there?
We don't have to do it if you're not comfortable. It's not uncomfortable in the technical sense. It's just, okay. Maybe it is sort of technical. Maybe, like, emotionally. Well, wait, it's emotional, I think, but I also feel, I don't feel like...
I understand.
Eh?
I couldn't properly explain my reasons either, could I? If it makes you uncomfortable, then it makes you uncomfortable. You don't have to explain, and I have no right to force you to.
This is such a healthy relationship, if it even is that kind of relationship. Thank you.
So, is doing it on the wrist the better option for you? How about the arm?
No.
What?
I've already given you my trust to decide. That's also a decision of mine, isn't it? And I trust your decision. I trust you. And I'm not taking back what I've given.
Oh.
Besides, you've been doing a really, really good job at making me comfortable up to this point, so...
Are you sure?
I am. Remember, I'm the one asking the huge favor that will require me to hurt you. I should be the one asking that.
Actually, I'm the one asking the favor, remember? Because it hurts me to see you so painfully pale, anemic, malnutritioned, dehydrated, and anxious every time we meet, yet you always refuse to accept my help. Oh. Sorry, am I making you uncomfortable?
No, I'm just amused how you're so aggressively caring about me. I like that about you, though.
My frowning eyes escape his gaze as I blush a little. Well...
Let's do it. But as always, I have to give you some final warnings.
Go ahead.
Why am I speaking in such a formal and stuffy manner to you again?
Because you've been acting like a doctor of a small hospital that desperately needs quick and free blood bags, so they target donors using nice words and gifts.
Good metaphor, but we're not doctor-patients that help each other because it benefits them individually. We're two people that help each other because we simply care about each other.
A bit cheesy, but I'll take that. So, will you just let me sign that?
Well...
He quickly skims through his notes while muttering to himself.
Painless, healing, anemia. Well, we've done this many times before. I'm sure by now you've already memorized all my explanations and questions, haven't you?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't been listening to every word you usually bombard me with just before we do it, because I know that I will agree to all of it.
That's just like scrolling through terms and conditions and just checking the I have read all column.
Gah, those websites, even if I've read all of it, I still don't trust them. But I trust you. That's the biggest difference.
Fair. If you were a little less accommodating tonight, I would have tortured you by reading all of my terms and conditions. And I will have you agree to it one by one. Ooh, so scary and evil.
Better always be nice to you, then.
Aw, I don't mind your aggressive niceness, too.
Then give me that. I snatch his notebook and pen from his grip. He easily releases it, as if letting me take it. On a table chart, I write today's date and then my signature, below many others before it.
Thanks for making that chart, by the way. It makes everything much more manageable.
Told you so. I return the notebook and the pen back to him. He puts it in his pockets.
Thank you. Well then, let's start.
He gives his look to me, signaling me to do the next step. I lean my head closer to him. Aww. After feeling his hands brushing a bit of my hair to the side, the right side of my neck feels the cold of the alcohol in the cotton, in which he lightly taps and makes a circular motion on. He puts the cotton away, then uses both of his hands to hold my shoulders and bring me to a position where we're facing each other.
Well, this is it. Are you ready?
Wait.
Yes. What's the matter? It's quite...
Baby! I'm having a moment with my vampire friend.
Baby wants to go in the closet. She gets to go in the closet. Yes. What's the matter? It's quite unusual for you to ask me to wait.
The collar of my clothes, it's not unbuttoned enough. The bigger the area that's not covered with clothes, the less risk of getting it stained.
Oh, of course. The most important thing. How can I forget about your dislike for stains on your clothes? Even though you're conveniently wearing a black-collared one specifically for today, exactly to avoid such things from happening.
I decide to ignore that remark and continue adjusting my collar. There, that should be fine. You may continue now.
Thanks.
The cursor kind of looks like she's making a smiley face.
He takes a deep inhale and then exhales. His right hand reaches to the lower right side of my cheek, and I instinctively lean my head towards it in order to give space to the other side of my neck. He leans a lot closer, and I could feel his breath on my skin. He gives me that one last look, as if asking for one final reassurance of my consent. I answer that look with a little nod and a slow blink. He smiles. He quickly, yet gently pierces his fangs against the veins of my neck. As a natural reaction, my body twitches a little bit. A small hissing sound came out of my clenched teeth as my right hand instinctively squeezed his left arm to help endure the pain. But that's as far as the pain goes. The initial sting lasted no more than a few seconds. What comes after are only feelings of relaxation and content. Instead of feeling my very life force being forcefully taken away from me, it feels more like an act of giving something I have in abundance to someone else who needs it more. It was him that is actually still so tense. Despite my own blood flowing so smoothly from a calm heartbeat, I could faintly feel his raging heartbeat just by touching his shoulder. So my right hand moves to embrace his back, giving some gentle strokes to help him relax. It's okay. I'm unsure if that works, but based from the sound of his breath that I could hear from behind my ear, I think it does. I close my eyes as I sigh in relief. He releases himself from me a few minutes later. He was facing downwards in silence for a few seconds, before finally lifting his head to look at my eyes.
Thank you.
He stands up, walking towards his previous sitting position in front of me.
Are you feeling all right?
I'm completely fine.
Really? Not even a bit of dizziness? Lightheadedness?
Well, I'm unsure if I'm feeling a bit tired or it's just being relaxed.
I guess either way you still need to rest and recover. Now that I've replenished, I have enough magic power to give you a healing spell.
Wait.
Yes? Another wait. What's wrong?
Doing magic depletes your magic power, doesn't it?
Yes.
And you get your magic power from taking blood, yes?
Yes.
Then tell me why you're using it if it's just going to drain you again anyway.
It's just a quick healing spell on a very small area. It will only take a little bit of my magic power.
Still, not using it at all will give you longer before you have to replenish again, correct?
Yeah, but it's not worth it, since healing you is a top priority.
No, I want it to heal naturally. Besides, I don't like those magic stuff being forced into me.
Yet you just willingly let a pseudo-magical being force his fangs into you.
Now that's a different story. That's a whole different ballgame, friend. Willingly and force don't go together. The donation was consensual. It's a donation. And in blood donations, the doctors don't give you an instant magic spell, right? I thought you're the one who likes it to be as humanly as possible.
That's a good point, actually. All right, I won't heal you then, with magic. Use this cream, though, after the scar's formed and the bleeding completely stops. Daily.
Got that.
For now, I'll just apply you a medical plaster on it.
He leans towards me. Once again, he sanitizes his hands with gel hand sanitizer. He then takes some tissues, then puts a gentle pressure on my neck with it to stop the bleeding. Let me hold that myself.
Thank you.
His hands switch to tidying and preparing the medical supplies on the table. So, how was it?
What was it?
My blood.
You're asking it just like how you did with your tea.
Well, both are drinks I brewed and served specifically for you today.
That's one way to put it. Well, you know how blood tastes, irony and all. I meant irony, not irony. Tastes like iron, not like irony. Well, maybe a bit like irony.
I see. It's not, say, perhaps sweet or tasty for you.
Unfortunately for me, it doesn't taste nor smell sweet. Tasty, good, luxurious, mouth-watering, or whatever delicious vocabularies.
I actually have tried consuming more sugar, just maybe if it can make the taste more bearable for you.
Aw, you don't have to do that for me. You've been making it bearable enough. Actually, please don't try to do that at all. Sweet blood can only happen if you actually have diabetes, which is not good.
Will eating anything else that's nice work?
I'm not sure, but the moment it does, that means you're consuming it too much, and too much is never good for anything.
I see. I'm so glad that that's the sort of supernatural being that I let consume my blood is also an expert in human medical science.
Won't let my medical degree go to waste even after all these years.
You're kidding. You still remember what you learned in college, even after...
I think it was the early 1900s, so that means around a century ago. Yeah. I mean, the things I've learned fortunately ended up being very useful to my unfortunately lengthy life, and my brain barely ages too, so I can still remember well.
Did you deliberately go to medical school because of your condition, or because you genuinely have interest in these things?
I did apply for it quite immediately after I was challenged. I wanted to know if there was any way to help my new condition at that time, so maybe because I genuinely have interest in helping my condition. Who knew that the knowledge would continue to help me for years to come? Yeah, a whole century. And would lead me to have this special, literal, healthy relationship with you.
But isn't it only recently, I mean, relatively recently, that you started taking it from humans? Surely you need to relearn some things again.
Human. You only... You know, I can't take from other humans, or other creatures as a matter of fact.
Ah, my bad.
And to answer your question of how I still remember it, I don't. I looked it up on the internet for today's procedures.
Ah.
I knew the gist of it, of course, but I still need to refresh on some details. Just search what to do before blood donation, after blood donation, iron-rich food, etc., etc.
Practical.
Besides, I own a blood research company that does blood donations. Shouldn't it be a little bit worrying if I don't know at least the basics? Most people that own companies don't know how they work nowadays, but...
Fair. I was about to ask you your tips on not forgetting things, but never mind that. Because, you see, earlier today, I prepared all the things needed for the donation, yet somehow I forgot to prepare for the most important thing. Bloody tea.
Bloody tea? As in freaking, not actual... Yeah. No, not bloody tea. Bloody tea. Well, maybe that means you care about me more than your precious tea.
Oh no, you've figured out my master plan. No, I mean, pretty sure I'm just starting to get forgetful, like I said.
True, forgetfulness. Aging is so cool.
Gosh, I got so caught up in the conversation that I didn't I didn't realize that we were talking about... Sorry, I didn't mean to bring these up. I thought you don't like to talk about your,
Inhumanity? Past? Age? Aging or lack of?
Yeah, it feels off that now you're saying that so casually.
It's fine. What's a tea time without talking about our backstories, midlife crisis, and fears of the future?
But you seemed extremely nervous when you got here earlier.
Ah, about that. Sorry. I know I don't have to be nervous around you. It's just, in addition to my usual hesitancy and denial of becoming whatever I've become and the things I don't want but have to do, before coming here,
What's the matter, baby?
I saw some children trick-or-treating, and one of them wore a Dracula costume, and...
What?
And they said, "Blah, I'm an evil vampire and I will eat your blood," and... First of all, the stereotypical Romanian accent can be insulting to actual Romanians. Second, you don't eat blood, you drink it. Even though it brings energy when consumed, blood is not soup. Classic vocab mistake. And third, vampires are not like that.
Oh, he's a bit salty.
I sipped my tea in a desperate effort to hold my laughter.
Oh, he's getting mad. Aw. Excuse me, it's just a silly little child. I thought you liked children.
I do, but not when they spread misinformation like that. I really need to speak to their parents. I'm glad that his own ranting makes him not realize the amusement on my face. Whoops. I ended up complaining to you. Anyway, seeing that made me remember of the things I said earlier that I don't usually like to talk about. And it made me insecure, nervous, scared. But now I'm not anymore. You managed to make me comfortable enough to casually talk about it. It's all thanks to you.
Oh.
I'm not even going to explain my reaction to that, because you blushed profusely.
Anyway, I think the bleeding has stopped.
Great. Now let me clean the wound with antiseptic for a bit. Sorry, this might sting a little. Done. Now let it dry out a little while I prepare the medical plaster. And I can feel him sticking something to the right side of my neck. We're done. Well, the next thing you need to do for your recovery is to drink lots of water, then get enough sleep. Tomorrow and a few days after, don't forget to eat iron-rich foods and drink the iron supplements I gave you if necessary. Don't do anything too tiring, and stay hydrated throughout the day. I'll message you to remind you of these things.
Oh, okay.
Well, now that that's out of the way, and because you must be tired right now, I'll take my leave so that you can rest. His body leans forward, preparing to get up.
Wait. He stops.
Huh? Your third wait of the day. What is it?
There's still one thing you forgot from my recovery.
Huh? Really? I'm sure I told you and given you all the very important things. Oh God, have I finally started losing my memory? Oh my God, am I aging?
I hate to break it to you, but it's not like that. It's tea.
What?
Tea.
Huh? Well, you shouldn't drink tea with iron supplements because it'll reduce the absorption to the gut, but I guess if it makes you happy and relaxed.
With you.
Eh?
A tea with you. That's what I need most to recover. Like what they say, a healthy mind and a healthy body. My physique is not the only thing I need to recover. Are you just going to strip a sick patient of their needs, or do you want to be of service? You haven't heard my backstory, midlife crisis and fears of the future.
I'll be of your bloody tea service then.
I let out a little chuckle. I I reach for the teapot, then refill the tea to his cup. He watches and listens as he readjusts his position on the sofa. And yet, here you are serving me instead. This is to make sure you can't run away from your responsibility. Actually, do you know that in some traditional households in Kyoto, a host serving its guests a certain tea dish implies an indirect social cue that it's time for the guest to leave?
Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing that.
Interesting information. But no, I want you to stay.
Gosh, you're the complete opposite of indirect implications.
He escapes my gaze and scratches his head.
Well then, if that's the case...
He takes his cup of tea and leans it towards me.
Cheers for the tea.
I chuckle, following the same gesture. And blood.
Aww.
True end. Bloody tea.
Or bloody tea. That was precious. That was adorable. That was a lot of fun. What a well-mannered vampire. That's the most thorough and consensual vampire I've ever heard of in any media ever. He gets good boy points. He gets good boy tendies. Editor me, put a good boy badge on there. #1 vampire.
But anyway, I would love to hear what you think in the comments, so you can put a comment down there and I will read it. There will also be a link in the description to this developer if you would like to see if they've made any more games, or if this game gets any more development, or if we get to see this super nice vampire again. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself, have a great night, and remember, there is always hope.